from Michael Bisping surviving a brutal flying knee knockout from Anderson Silva.
Ooh,
Bisping's
very
ready.
nicely done.
Oh! Jumping knee! Michael goes down!
To Jorge Masvidal ending Donald Cerrone's winning streak by dropping him twice.
Masvidal with a flurry here. Late round one! Hurts Cerrone! That is it!
Here are some of the craziest saved-by-the-bell moments in MMA history. Starting off with Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva. The showdown between Bisping and Silva at UFC Fight Night back in 2016 had fight fans on the edge of their seats. It was a back-and-forth battle with both fighters showing their skills, but it was the closing moments of the third round that would go down in history as one of the craziest saved-by-the-bell moments in MMA. As the round was coming to an end, Bisping made a costly mistake. He was distracted by the loss of his mouthpiece and momentarily took his focus off Silva. In the chaos of the moment, with seconds left on the clock, Bisping found himself vulnerable to a devastating flying knee from Silva. The blow landed flush, and Bisping slumped against the cage, seemingly out of it. The buzzer sounded and Silva celebrated, thinking he had won the fight. But to everyone's surprise, the fight was not waved off, and it continued. Bisping showed incredible heart and determination, slowly got back to his feet, shaking off the effects of the devastating knee strike. He later blamed himself for what he called a rookie mistake. The fight continued on, with both fighters giving it their all, but it was Bisping who ultimately came out on top, winning a unanimous decision victory. But as crazy as this was, it still doesn't hold a candle to what happened during David Baxter versus Christie in a commission-sanctioned event held in Chicopee, Massachusetts, called Warrior Nation Extreme Fighters Alliance Warrior Nation 3. The matchup between Christie and Baxter stole the show. During the first round, Christie applied a triangle choke on Baxter, causing him to seemingly tap out and then go unconscious. It looked like a clear-cut win for Christie, right? Well, hold on to your seats, folks, because this is where things started to get really strange. According to the referee, Baxter went unconscious after the bell, which meant that he had survived the submission attempt. But as the first round ended, the fighter went into a brief seizure and began flailing his legs on the floor of the cage. It was a shocking sight that left everyone in the arena in disbelief. But wait, there's more. On-site doctors ruled Baxter fit to continue after he regained consciousness. Yes, you heard that right. Despite going unconscious and having a seizure, he was given the green light to keep fighting. To everyone's surprise, Baxter not only continued the fight, but also went on to win by second round TKO. It was an astonishing turn of events, one that left many questioning the decision to let him continue. Not everyone was convinced. Many who witnessed the bout believed that it should have been stopped, especially after the fighter not only lost consciousness, but also had a seizure. But hey, all's well that ends well, right? However, not everything ends in the favor of the survivors, as can be seen by the matchup between Igor Spirit and Vitaly Bigdash. It was a night of high stakes and heart-stopping action. Spirit, the reigning champion, squared off against Bigdash in a highly anticipated matchup at One Championship. From the get-go, Igor came out swinging, showing why he was the champion. He knocked Bigdash down not once, but twice in the first round, sending shockwaves through the arena. It seemed like Igor was on a rampage, determined to regain his belt and make a statement. But hold on, folks, because Bigdash had some tricks up his sleeve. Despite being knocked down, he showed incredible resilience and used his ground game to survive the onslaught. He refused to go down without a fight, showcasing his determination and heart. As the first round was coming to an end, Bigdash found himself in a peculiar situation. He managed to put Igor into a tight chokehold, attempting to end the fight with a submission. The tension in the air was deafening as the clock ticked down, and just when it seemed like Bigdash might secure the victory, the bell rang, signaling the end of the round, and Igor narrowly escaped defeat. But unfortunately, it didn't change much. Despite his valiant efforts, in the very next round, Bigdash came back with a vengeance, landing a flurry of devastating strikes that ultimately ultimately led to a TKO. It was a heartbreaking moment for Igor and his fans, as he lost his belt and the title of champion. But it was one heck of a match for fans of combat sports. Speaking of intense matchups, how can I not mention Tim Kennedy versus Yoel Romero? It was a showdown for the ages, as the two absolute physical monsters with magnetic personalities clashed in the octagon at UFC 178's main card. Both fighters were at the top of their game, coming from renowned gyms and bringing their A-game to the fight. It was a deceptively important battle, with the winner poised to take a step closer to championship glory. The fight was a back-and-forth war, with neither fighter willing to back down, but in the end, it was Romero who emerged victorious, albeit in a dramatic fashion. After winning dramatic back-and-forth rounds, the fighter stumbled off his stool in the corner, a whopping 37 seconds later than he should have. But just when it seemed like Romero might be at a disadvantage, he summoned his signature explosive right hand, finishing Kennedy with a barrage of ground and pound. Romero's victory, however, came with a hint of controversy. At the end of round 2, Kennedy had unleashed a scary series of punches on Romero, leaving him with a huge cut over his eye. As Romero stumbled to his cornermen took their time to exit the cage, buying him precious extra seconds to recover from the prior beating. Was Romero's victory tainted by his corner's tactics? Did they game the system to secure a win for their fighter? It's impossible to say for sure, but one thing was clear: those extra seconds might have made all the difference in the world. And another example of that is the matchup between Donald Cerrone and Jorge Masvidal. As the fight started, Cerrone looked patient and composed, landing low kicks and body kicks, while Masvidal fired back with hard punches. Cerrone seemed to have the early edge, countering well with his kicks, but Masvidal, the 32-year-old Florida native, was just getting warmed up. In the final 2 minutes of the first round, he began to turn the tide, fending off Cerrone's takedown attempt and landing a hard spinning back fist. Cerrone fired back with a head kick, but Masvidal weathered it and started to find his rhythm, landing harder shots. And just when it seemed like the round was coming to an end, he managed to drop Cerrone with a wicked right-left combo, pouncing on him with more strikes as the bell rang. Referee Herb Dean stepped in to separate the two, and it looked like Cerrone might have been saved by the bell, but Masvidal was just getting started. The second round began with him picking up where he left off, capitalizing on a still dazed Cerrone. He unleashed a barrage of kicks and knees, ultimately dropping the fighter once again with a thunderous overhand right. Cerrone struggled to get back to his feet, but Masvidal's punches kept coming, and Dean had no choice but to step in and stop the fight, just 1 minute into the second round. But hey, that's all there is for the craziest Saved by the Bell moments in MMA history. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Oh, another knockdown for Gamebred. Cerrone in a world of trouble here. Masvidal working the body, and that is it. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal